When you think of the clearances, you think of beauty and tears combined. You think of Highland glens, stunning but remote and desolate. You never for a minute expect me to bring you to Airdrie. But today, I want to say what they don't say about the Highland Clearances. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. Whenever you hear the word clearances, immediately before it, you expect to hear the word Highland. And yet, look along post-industrial Airdrie High Street today and you'd never think of this as a clearance location. We get so distracted by the horrific brutality that I've described when Patrick Sellar cleared land for the Duke of Sutherland that we lose sight of the larger numbers cleared from places like this. Over a series of videos, I'd like to cover the issues raised in a highly readable book called The Lowland Clearances by Peter Aitchison and Andrew Cassels. Today, it's the overarching changes that affected ordinary people through the centuries. And I can't think of a more appropriate place to do it than what you might perceive to be industrial Lanarkshire. But Airdrie hasn't always been like this. In 1160, Malcolm IV of Scotland gave these lands to the monks of New Battle Abbey, which was an offshoot of Melrose Abbey. That's why Airdrie, Coatbridge and surrounds are called Monklands. This is Airdrie High Street. Where's the Jenners? Where's the Gucci? Where's the Prada? It looks more working class residential. And it is. But it literally was the high street in which the monks built the Edinburgh to Glasgow road above the boggy ground down there. Medieval gave way to Renaissance, the Reformation came and went, but in many ways rural life remained unchanged. And this was the location of rural life. And farming would have been pretty much the same whether you were in the Highlands or the Lowlands. Airdrie was a ferm town that developed around here. A small community of families lived and worked together. They would each have a strip of land or a rig to cultivate in the infield near their houses. Further away, the open outfield was used for common grazing for their animals. Their animals grazed in common and they rented their land through common tenancies from the lord and his castle. They called this mutual system of cooperative farming run rig, after the popular Highland band. They paid their rent in kind and service, so many eggs or butter or balls of wheat or days of ploughing. You get the picture. In the 18th century, things were changing. At first, down in Galloway, the landowners brought in change with a haste and severity that created a backlash that I'll cover in another video. From then on, the clearances in the Lowlands were carried out with stealth, legal niceties and a marketing campaign. The landowners weren't clearing, they were improving. In this area, it wasn't the Duke of Sutherland, but the Duke of Hamilton. And the factor wasn't Patrick Sellar, but John Burrell. So imagine it's the second half of the 17th century. You're a tenant on the Duke of Hamilton's estates, maybe even on this land that's now Central Park. His factor, John Burrell, has a plan. It's a plan that many others will follow across the Lowlands before the Highland Clearances wipe that people and culture from the land. Instead of short-term community leases with you and your neighbours farming your little rigs and sharing common ground, the factor would choose one member of the community. They would be given a much longer 19-year lease for all the land. In return for this longer lease, they'll have to improve the land. Land that will now be enclosed rather than open, and you'll probably be paying in cash rather than kind. Most of you will no longer be farmers, but wage labourers. You'll work on the land leased to the successful one who's given the tenancy. Now, walls will have to be built to enclose the previously communal land, and people will be needed to build those walls to keep themselves out. Some of you will move over to weaving or fishing or whatever other means of making money you can, because you'll no longer be growing, breeding, gathering or milking your own food. You no longer depend on the bounty of nature, but the generosity of the market rate. Some of you will trust to the kindness of the ocean in a wave of emigration. Of course, the laird doesn't want everyone to leave. He'll need your labour at certain times of year to sow or for harvest, so he wants you close by for those times. Depending on the time, district, property held and the structure of the parliamentary seats, he might also need you when it came to voting him back into Parliament to enact the laws that would determine your future, ensure the security of his class, or enforce the servitude of yours. So planned villages were established by landowners to house the workers. You'll see lots of them up and down the country: Stanley, Grangemouth, Granton-on-Spey, Balfron, New Lanark and many more. One of the features that you'll often see in these planned villages is that the front door opens right onto the main street rather than having a front garden. This was to make sure that the houses midden had to be in the back garden and wasn't visible in the front street. Now, these planned villages weren't built for altruistic purposes, but they did give some of the newly landless workers a relief valve and a roof above their heads. Airdrie wasn't one of these new planned towns. 60 or 70 years before, Robert Hamilton of Airdrie was the local nobleman. Now, he's a pub. But he persuaded Parliament to pass an act allowing 4 fairs a year to be held here. Airdrie was becoming a market town. Anyway, you're in luck, because when the landlord was looking for a new tenant for a long lease, he chose you. I might say you'd won a watch, but you earned it. Your hard work, good behaviour and conformity in the past are paying dividends. It's not everyone that can keep their head down and tug their forelock at the same time. Incidentally, if you want to help keep the channel going, you can buy coffees to help support us. I'll leave a link in the description. Now, some of the others who didn't get the lease were also hard-working, conscientious, determined and well-behaved. But John Burrell chose you. In some ways, the hard work's only starting. You see, part of the lease are a set of conditions dictating when you lime the soil, how much land you need to bring into cultivation, how you rotate the crops, how many fallow years, even what crops you grow. Oh, and rents will rise. So you have to make this farm more productive, and you've got 19 years to do it. But at least you're not a wage labourer, are you? They don't get to share in productivity. In fact, there will be years of want when you have to hand over the grain that you've grown for the landlord to export. It'll travel through towns like this, where some of your erstwhile colleagues now live, on its way to England or mainland Europe as they look hungrily on. Some of them will be so hungry that they might search the fields after harvest to glean any leftovers missed. They might have gone to the woods and collected dead wood to use and hearth their home. But whilst this used to be permitted, it's now seen as pilfering. And by 1780, there'd be a law against it, passed by your MP in Parliament. But not every year's one of hunger. As the 18th century progressed towards the 19th century, grain prices increased. Wages also increased. But even in good growing years, those who kept a small stock of beasts could no longer graze them on common land, because common land was now enclosed. Cheerio, Callum.
All right.
But of course you've got your land, at least until your 19-year lease is up. And then you have to hope that you've improved the land enough to get another lease. Hopefully you've not improved it so much that you can't afford the new lease. Under Burrell's stewardship, the value of the Duke's lands soared. You could be working for somebody else to outbid you into a homeless retiral. and you may have to follow others into wage labouring or some other trade in the town here. Maybe you'll be forced, as some of them were, to sail the Atlantic Ocean and start all over again. Of course, you may well manage to survive to gain another lease. Your children may grow to take on a lease after you. They might watch people flock south from the Highlands when they're cleared from their land, swelling the town of Airdrie as they come to work in Lanarkshire coal mining and industry commemorated at the Summerlee Museum of Scottish Industrial Life in Coatbridge. Maybe you or your children will be part of the next wave to sail the oceans. Maybe they'll see the radicalisation of weavers as the Industrial Revolution moves them off their spinning wheels into long hours and noisy factory labour. Maybe they'll watch some of those radicals tried and deported to Australia. Or they'll live through the church schism that will create the Free Church of Scotland as folk rebel against the imposition of clergy by those very lords and masters who put people off their land. Maybe they'll join others from that free church in the John Wycliffe or the Philip Lang as they sail to New Zealand to build that new Jerusalem in Otago. They might stay here as the countryside gives way to coal mining and the land that was ferm tunes changes to a more industrial landscape. Their descendants will see Monklands specifically and North Lanarkshire in general become part of that industrial central belt that we recognise today. Coal mines, steelworks, hard grafting, hard men, and even harder women. I say that we recognise today. Of course I mean that we remember today. You know the Proclaimer song, Letter from America? I'd be interested to find out in the comment section how many of you have heard that song and understand its meaning. I remember having an argument with an English mate because he could neither see nor care that it was about clearance then and now and deindustrialisation in Scotland. If you didn't realise that, then take a listen to it again. In order to facilitate improvement, folks had been moved from the farming economy to the wage economy only for their heirs to inherit the move from wage economy to the dole queue to facilitate further efficiency. And the transition to modern day Monklands was complete. What about the folks who left for those new worlds to own their own lands in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America? How many are independent landowners today and how many are just wage labourers in sunnier climes? Of course, there have been improvements in economic change and nothing stands still. The purpose of this video was to point out that clearance and dispossession wasn't a one-off event in the Highlands, but a continuing activity down the centuries with winners and losers. Change is inevitable. In the late 18th and early 19th centuries, some would say that who won and who lost in that change had that same inevitability. They'll still tell you that today, if you let them. There'll be another video on another aspect of clearance coming up on screen now. In the meantime, ha mi an dóchas go be lá mála. Cheery and drastic.